Welcome back to The Anchor Show, guys. My name is Andrew. I am a mental health therapist and a life coach. Today's topic is how to control anger before it controls you. All right. And this is primarily for guys. All right. So if you've ever struggled with anger, just can't seem to control your temper, get hot real quick, real easy, always get into fights, can't seem to keep the peace at work, can't seem to keep the peace at home, right? There could be something much deeper that's going on. Anger is like an iceberg, right? There's actually a thing called the anger iceberg, right? Anger is essentially that piece of ice that you see above the water level, right? But underneath that water level, what you can see is a lot of different things going on. It's a mask for deeper emotions, such as fear, such as doubts or guilt. It's basically a byproduct of something else that's going on much deeper than what we can see on the surface, right? And so how do we address that, right? How do we address containing that anger before it contains us? Because, let's be honest, like when you see road rages, for example, right? That's people who lack that emotional intelligence and ability to control their anger, right? My thing is that if you're on the road, right? So for example, taking road rage, for example, if I'm driving and somebody cut me off, right? And they didn't hit me and I didn't hit them, right? Then that's okay. I'll move on with my day, right? Now, that took work. That took learning how to be emotionally aware and how to control my emotions and a lot of self-work, right? That didn't come naturally. That's a lot of self-work. But once I'm able to do that, right, I realize and recognize just how positively impactful that is on my life, because I'm not getting bent out of shape over things that are not, detrimental, right? Just, you cut me off, but you didn't hit me. I didn't hit you. There was no accident. You just cut me off. I had to brake hard or swerve or whatever the case might be. Yeah, that's a little bit upsetting. But at the end of the day, I'm good. You're good. Why do I get upset? Right? Somebody with anger issues now is going to track that person down. They're going to ride their bumper. They're probably going to hit them. There's even been shootings, right? That's because you got something much deeper going on that you never addressed, and is manifesting itself in the way that you react, right? And we already know that having the inability or being unable to control your anger or control the issues that leads to anger, that right there is all bad news. There's nothing good about that, right? There's absolutely nothing good about just getting angry all the time and reacting in that type of way. There's nothing good about that, right? That type of behavior will just lead to negative outcomes. You get in trouble with the law, you hurt people or you get hurt yourself. There's nothing good about that, right? But how do we fix that, right? Because I'm all about solutions, right? I'm all about solving problems. How do we fix that situation? How do we control that? Well, the first thing is you have to recognize the fact that you have a problem. You have to be able to be honest with yourself and accept the fact that, this is a struggle. I struggle with this thing, right? Once you first identify that, yes, you do have that challenge or struggle, and you accept the fact that it is a struggle and a challenge of yours, then the next thing we're going to do is we're going to recognize or try to recognize the triggers, right? So yes, there's this problem. What are the triggers, right? Why is it that you are so quick to go off the handle, right? Recognize triggers, recognize patterns, right? And try to understand what causes you to react the way that you react. Why am I reacting this way. The next thing that you're going to do once you recognize those patterns is now you're going to try to break those patterns. You're going to try to develop much more healthy habits, right? So instead of reacting quickly and with words, do you take a moment, think it through, take a few deep breaths, right? Walk away, right? Just what do you need to do to react in a more positive way, right? Walk away from that space, walk away from that situation if you can, right? If you're in a situation where you can walk away from it, right? Ask yourself, is this really worth me getting worked up right now? Listen to your body. When you're angry, when you're really angry, what's going on in your body? What are you feeling? What are you experiencing, right? Are you having headaches? Do you feel pressure in your chest? Is your breathing affected? Like, what's going on in your body? Physiologically, what's happening, right? Ask yourself those questions. Pay attention to those feelings, those signs, right? Let that guide you, right? There was a point in time when I would get so angry where I experienced this weird headache. I can't explain that headache. All I can tell you is it's weird and it's very uncomfortable. And that feeling right there was a guide to me learning how not to get to that place. Because whenever I got there, it feels weird and unhealthy. So I'm like, no, this is not okay. I don't want to get here, right? So that guided me to learning how to regulate my emotions and not allow myself to get to that point. So listen to your body. What are you feeling when you get to that point of anger, right? How does that make you feel, right? It has to be uncomfortable. And given that it is uncomfortable, how do you limit yourself from getting to that point, right? And so now you start to implement these measures like walking away, taking a few deep breaths, start counting, right? You could do it out loud if it's appropriate. You can do it internally if that's what's best for that moment. Start counting from 1 to 100 or for however many you need to count to until you start to bring yourself down. Take deep breaths in through the nose slowly, hold it for a few seconds, let it out through the mouth slowly, right? You repeat that a few times and you literally start to feel your body just kind of calming down, right? And then if you're able to walk away, go get some fresh air. For those who smoke, go get a cigarette, right? Whatever the case might be. But these are the things that you need to do in order to self-regulate. Now, if you say, well, that's not going to help, right? My anger is way worse than that. That's okay. If it is a case where you feel that you're unable to self-regulate by just practicing a few mindfulness, such as the deep breath, walking away, counting, etc. If these things are not, if you don't feel as if these things are helpful or going to be helpful, then what you can do is go seek help. Where do you go seek help? You go to therapy, right? You can go, or it's not always about going to therapy, right? You can talk to somebody. You can, if there's someone that you look up to, someone that they'll listen to what you have to say, go talk to somebody. Express to them what's going on, right? Tell them what's going on. And see if they can help you to kind of see things from a different perspective, right? Learn good problem solving skills. A lot of times too, what leads to anger is your inability to problem solve, right? Because if something happens, right, and you have that strong problem solving skill set, you are immediately solving that problem in your brain, right? What's going on right now? What is the cause of this person's reaction? Why did they say the thing that they said? Why are they behaving the way they're behaving? Is this necessary for me to get upset, right? So you're doing all those calculations in your brain. You're problem solving in your brain. And if you're good at it, you're going to quickly realize that, okay, this does not require me to get angry, to get upset, or to react in a manner that is going to be seen as aggressive. You're going to realize that real quick. And then you can de-escalate a situation before it becomes a situation, right? You can basically kill it right where it's at before it gets to a point where you're blowing up, and then we're escalating the situation beyond what it needs to be, right? So if you can't self-regulate, go seek help. Go, again, talk to somebody, talk to a mentor, talk to a friend, talk to a family member, go to therapy, right? But don't just sit on that issue and not do anything about it, right? Remember, what we're trying to do as men, we're trying to normalize the habit, the practice, the culture of seeking help when we need it, right? Contrary to what many believe, seeking help is manly. Seeking help is masculine, right? Seeking help is intelligent, rather than to know that you need help and not seek it. But the very first step is acknowledging and accepting that you do have an issue that requires some attention, right? So once again, guys, let's normalize working on ourselves, whether that's anger, whether that's anxiety, whether that's depression, whatever it might be. Let's normalize seeking help when we need it and not just sit on our problems and let it control us. All right. So that is it for this one, guys. I hope that you did get some value from this one. If you're new to this channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, share it with somebody you think that could benefit from it. If you are a subscriber, welcome. I do appreciate the support. And until the next video, guys, let's continue to grow, evolve, and transform into the best version of ourselves. Peace.